Community.
I don't know which camera you're on. There. Okay.
What up, people? Welcome to Pop Live. We
They heard me say I don't know what camera you're on.
this is our second shot at this, and we are just as unprepared and unprofessional as the first time. If you're wondering, hey, weren't you guys supposed to be on like 20 minutes ago? Yes, we were. And then if you're wondering, hey, aren't you supposed to be on at 1:30 and not 12:30? Yes, we were. And in case you're wondering, hey, weren't you on earlier and now this is the second stream? Yes, we were. It's one of those days, but that's the beauty of live. It's just like you live and die with us. You go through our ups and downs. My name is Nolan. Welcome to the Pop Live Show. It's episode number 5, and joining me, of course, is Jamie. Jamie, show yourself to the camera. Look and wave. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. All right. If you're wondering, wow, your place looks very different. Well, that's because we're not home. We're actually at the Happiness U Studios here in Kaka'ako. Our friend Alice Inoue did her amazing 2021 event last night that we produced and live streamed for her. And it ended late, and we figured, hey, you know what? If you're cool with it, Alice, we're just going to leave all the equipment up, and we'll just do our live show from here. And she said yes. So thankfully, we got to do our live stream from here. And you guys get the benefit of seeing all this fancy, beautiful background and nice lighting and stuff. So I wanted to give you a heads up about kind of the flow of this show. So full disclosure, originally we're trying to be like super prepared and professional, do show layout, prep notes and all that stuff. And if you watched our previous 4 episodes, you'll notice that when I started talking about things where I'm looking at notes or trying to read things, it totally falls off the hinges and I look super uncomfortable, and Jamie noticed I started sinking in my chair and all this stuff. That's because I'm just not built to be prepared and have notes and read things. It just really throws me off. So as much as I wanted to be super organized for you all, it didn't match my style. And so Jamie and I agreed, let's just wing it. Well, I'll just wing it, and it doesn't match Jamie's style, but for your benefit, I think it's going to come across much better and more helpful. I think I get way too distracted with the specifics of the wording and the scripting and the notes, and
I just want to say I didn't make you do that.
No.
Everybody's going to think that I was trying to force you to write all those notes.
No, that's the thing, is I tried to be proactive and do what would Jamie want? She didn't even say it. I just threw it in her. I threw my thoughts of what she would want into my brain, and I tried to be all professional and prepared, and I thought I would impress her. And I forgot she's stuck with me, so I don't need to impress her, and so instead I'm just going to go with what I know and what I'm comfortable with. So the point of this whole these lives is still going to stay the same. We're going to each week cover a different topic that we think is going to be super helpful for nonprofit organizations and some businesses in helping them navigate through video production, virtual events, social media, website content, all that kind of stuff through our experiences and what we talk with our clients with, and what we've learned through our training and through our experiences with our clients. We're taking all that and trying to pass that knowledge on to you, and so hopefully it can help you, and it can be useful for you, and that you guys can do some amazing stuff, because ultimately what we love about working with nonprofits is because the nonprofits are doing such amazing and necessary work in our communities, and we just want to be a part of helping that work be done, because we just want the world to be a better place. So rather than having these individual meetings with nonprofits one-on-one, and we all don't have a whole lot of time, each of us, so instead we just put it on here so that whoever and whatever time you have, you can jump on, glean some knowledge, and hopefully it will help you. So what we're going to talk about today is something that I think a lot of nonprofits are constantly working on and somewhat have a struggle with, and that is when you're trying to raise funds, whether it's through fundraisers or just doing a direct ask, there's always a little difficulty of, well, how do we get people to donate money? And a lot of it is, it's uncomfortable, you know. The ask is, it's just like if I were to go up to a person and say, hey, can you help me out, and can you throw couple bucks my way? It's not a comfortable position, but it's so necessary. I mean, so much of the day-to-day work that the nonprofits have to do rely on the generous donations and support from the communities and their followers. So a lot of the times the requests come as just like a general ask, like, hey, we're just trying to raise some funds so that we can keep the doors open, so whatever you can afford to send our way, please, we'd appreciate it. Or when you have a fundraiser, it's just like a general ask, like, hey, we're doing all this work in the community and we can't do it without your support and help, so thank you for helping us. But there's a lot of times where we notice there are organizations that are missing a really important element that can really make the difference between making a big impact of getting those funds that you need versus kind of missing the boat some of the times and maybe not gaining the donations that you were hoping to get. And that is the power of making your ask specific. What I mean is, if a person who wants to donate knows specifically what kind of impact their donation can make, where their funds can go, and what it could mean specifically to the mission, to the work being done, to the organization, a lot of times that could be the catalyst for them saying, yes, I want to make this donation because I want to see that happen. So an example is when we work with, we'll just use we'll preserve their name, but we were working with a nonprofit organization that did an annual summer camp. And it was a really meaningful and powerful activity for, you know, the families and the people that the kids that were going to it. But it was very costly because, I mean, it's a couple weeks, and you know, they needed funds to pay for the housing and board and the food and for the staff and all that stuff. So while you think, wow, what a great, you know, opportunity to bring kids together, and it's a much needed thing that is helping with their families. For a lot of these kids, this is the one time that they get to see their friends or siblings and loved ones out of the whole entire year. So, I mean, this is a pretty significant event. And in the past, the ask would just be, hey, can you donate to make you know, this camp event come to fruition? And they got some support, but when they went a route where we had them ask specifically for a certain dollar amount to give the prospective donor an idea of just how much their dollar goes towards and what it could mean. So we broke down for them in their ask, you know, just how much it costs to sponsor a child and what that sponsorship meant, you know. So when they were able to see, hey, for X amount of dollars, I'm just going to throw out this number, for $200, that will sponsor one child, and that will pay for their food, room, and board, and this is what they'll get to do. They'll get to see their family and friends and share, you know, some kind of the significance of why sending in a child and allowing the child to attend this camp really can make an impact on their lives. That campaign, we had donors donate 10 times as much as they normally would because they wanted to donate to have 10 kids go. So instead of just donating, you know, a few $100s, they're like, I'm going to donate, and they had one that donated $2,000 because they wanted to specifically send 10 kids to camp. And so when they were able to see something tangible and some kind of specific reaction or result from their donations, it gave them incentive to donate, but also not only donate, but donate more than they normally would, because now they see what it could mean. And that's what you know, even when it comes to like for me, myself, I'll share with you, something where it made an impact for me. And this had nothing to do with a nonprofit, but there was a politician that I was supporting that I really liked. And every time they would ask for a donation, they gave specifics as to what the donation could help with. It could mean X amount of mailers go out, or X amount of T-shirts to be printed and stuff. And so it made it tangible for me to go, man, imagine what 10 more mailers could mean to this. 10 more people can learn about it. So I would donate because there was a specific ask. Versus you see it all the time, politicians, campaigns that ask for money and just like any dollar amount can help. Just donate if you can. When this particular campaign asked for donations and gave specific relations of what these dollar amounts could mean, it gave me more incentive, and it made me feel more connected to doing something directly that could impact, and I knew where that impact would go. So for nonprofits, the same rules apply. When you can share specifically what a dollar amount could mean, I think you'll start to notice that when your audience hears that and can connect that to their emotions, their love and wanting to support your organization, that's where you're going to see a lot more effectiveness in raising funds. Jamie, do you have anything to add to that?
I have a couple things.
Sure.
I don't know. Are you breaking this into 3 points?
No.
You're just talking?
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know what's going on. He hasn't told me anything.
I haven't told her anything. But aside from me wanting to go 1 and 2, like there really wasn't any points to breaking it into 3 points.
So the first thing I thought of was we put in the newsletter a long time ago about Marie Forleo had done a post about a minimum, what is it? I'm checking the archives, sorry.
Yeah.
It was a long time
speaking
ago.
of which, while she's checking that, she's referring to the archives of our newsletter, our POP newsletter, which we send out every other week. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, we'll share with you the link or the address for that here below.
I don't know if I can make that work right now.
But later on. But
oh, there. Maybe this is the button. My buttons are all reprogrammed because of the event last night.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to check them yet.
But you know what? Our audience is very forgiving. Like, they understand. I mean,
well, everything is going to be a crapshoot. When I push a button, we don't know what's going to happen.
We're going to have music playing. We're going to have, like, laser light show. Who knows? But go to this website and sign up for our newsletter, because when you do, we'll give you access to all the archived newsletters. And there's really useful information like the one that Jamie is going to share here.
So this one is about the minimum viable action. So she said that research shows that when you give somebody the smallest specific action, they get like double the response.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of this, like telling somebody not just donate to help the camp, but this is the smallest amount that you can do that will impact one kid, and then people go above and beyond.
So explain why that works, why that psychology works. To give some, because instead of saying to somebody like, hey, can you give as much as you can, this is kind of the opposite, and saying like, here's just the bare minimum that we're asking you to do.
I didn't say why it works. I linked to her blog where she wrote about it.
well, from what I remember from when we were learning about this, was that when you make it the bare minimum, it makes it so that whoever's at that level that would just only give the bare minimum, that they'll actually do it, versus if you set the bar high, they're like, oh, I'm all the way down here, there's no way I can be of any help or service, so I'm not even going to try. But when you set the bar low and say, like, at the very least, this is all you need to do, they go, I can do that. And a lot of times they'll even add, move up from there. They go, well, that's really simple. I can do $10. Well, imagine what $50 could do. It's 5 times more. I'll give $50. So that's kind of, that worked with the psychology of the campaign that I gave to. Like, they kept saying, like, all we need is $10, and $10 will do this. The $10 will mean this. And I would be like, I'll give 25 then. Like, I got 25, and it just kept happening and things like that nature. So when you give somebody that kind of the bare minimum, it also makes them feel like, oh, so if I give this little bit, which I feel guilty for, like this is all I can afford, I know that you still appreciate it and that you can still use it. And that's really powerful. You said you had several things. What else did you have?
I just had two. I said I had two things.
This goes to show just how good my listening skills are. But I have an earpiece in one ear and not in the other. It doesn't matter because
We're sitting right here.
I have no excuse.
What's my other thing? Oh, okay. So my brain keeps going blank. There's all these lights around me, and I'm not used to it.
It's funny because I actually feel more comfortable with these things. I feel the warmth of the embrace of the lights.
I look up and there's like lights and So I think that issue that a nonprofit might have when they hear this is that like they are trying to raise money for general funds.
Yes.
And unrestricted donations because that's what's going to help them the most. And then making a specific ask like this is going to make it restricted funds, which is hard for them to use.
Right.
So
what we've seen, like that's kind of a common thing, and for those who are unfamiliar with what that is, restricted funds means like when somebody makes a donation, they say specifically,
or if they get a grant.
Yeah, that this money that I'm giving you is going specifically to X or Y or this program or this department and whatnot. So they could say, I'm giving you $10,000, but you can only buy toothbrushes for children, something like that. When a lot of organizations, they need unrestricted funds, which means that they get the money and they can deem where it's appropriate to allocate those funds. So a lot of nonprofits will say, well, I don't want to say specifically that these donations, a specific ask, because now that restricts us to just that thing we're asking for. The way around that is that you can give examples of what these things are for, but at the end of it, you can just say, so for instance, maybe we're talking about a certain program and how much just $10 can help this program. But at the end of it, you can say, so we, humbly ask that you help us in any way you can, and we appreciate your help in giving us donations. And you can spell out that if you make the donations for unrestricted funds, that'll allow your funds to help benefit programs such as the one we just mentioned, along with all of the many other programs that we have. Or you can even explain throughout, your ask that, we have multiple departments and programs in our organization that could use your help. This is just one of them, and this is just one example. But with your unrestricted funds donation of whatever you can afford, you can help us, pay for lights, pay for staff, pay for equipment, help, send this child to camp, whatever examples. But by giving a tangible example for a specific ask, that gets the gears going, the heart connected, the emotions, and then as you verbalize it or explain that this donation will be unrestricted funds, should be all good, because they'll realize like, yeah, there's better than I as to how you need to best benefit your organization.
And I think that even if you make the specific small ask that is going to be a restricted donation for one specific program, those people are now in your funnel.
Yeah.
Like now those people can be added onto your newsletter and they can start hearing about all the different things that you do. So down the line, they might become they'll be more connected with your organization and then consider making a bigger unrestricted donation as they like what you do.
Yeah, we had a client who had a specific donor who every year would make a specific donation to a specific program for specific materials every year, and then we helped the organization with, I think it was a newsletter campaign, an email, which explained I guess the things that they could use help with and what the impacts an unrestricted donation would be. And that person ended up donating more than they've ever donated before. and initially had said that they wanted it to be restricted to, you know, a specific program. But when they heard that the unrestricted funds and how it works, they said, you know what, I'll make it unrestricted, whatever you need to apply these funds for. You know, I trust you, and I just want to do my part to help. And so just communicating that, I think a lot of donors don't know these aspects and don't understand this. So the more you can educate, the more you can you know, open the doors and let them see how the inner workings of what goes on in your organization, along with what goes on with the work in the community too, because I think that's another thing, kind of veering off the topic a little bit, but I think the more you can share about specifically what you're doing in the community will also help a lot with your connection with the audience, your donors. There's so many stories where we've heard where donors had been supporting organizations for a long time and didn't even know certain aspects of the organization and the different programs, and they were just, one, delighted to know that that this organization did those things, but they're like, man, I wish I knew about this, because, you know, that's so important to me. So the more you can share and the more you can communicate, the better.
I think if you think about it like a GoFundMe, like that's something that people are real familiar with now.
Yeah.
And those are usually because of a specific, like somebody's house burned down, and then you want to help them with that. So people are used to these real specific asks now. So if you think about your organization and like, how would you use a GoFundMe, and then you just don't put it on that platform.
Yeah. And kind of in the way too, like when it works with the GoFundMe where there's different prizes or
levels,
awards or levels. Yeah. The idea is that you spend more and you get more stuff, but when it comes to donating to nonprofits, it's like you can lay out the more you spend, these are the other things that can be done for the nonprofit. So you're not necessarily, you know, trying to spend more to buy, you know, rewards for yourself, but you're trying to spend more to buy rewards for the organization that you're supporting. So to know what different things that could be affected and helped with through your donations helps a donor with their inspiration as to how much they decide to give or whether they give or not, you know? Do you have something else that you wanted to say?
I think just one more thing about the GoFundMe thing is, like, think about their page where they write about the story about what the family is going through and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how you want to think about sharing about what this donation is going to mean for your organization. Like, tell it like a story.
Yeah, some of the most effective GoFundMe campaigns, you'll notice that they spend a lot of effort and time on sharing that story. They'll produce a really fantastic video, and they'll spend a ton of time teaching you about the people behind, you know, the project and their story, versus it just being a straight up advertisement for the product itself, because they know just how important that connection with the audience is to the people behind it, and the message and the mission behind what's, you know, people are asking support for. So same thing with your organization, with nonprofits. We really see the benefit of sharing the story of what's behind the nonprofit, the people that are being affected by it, the people that are working in it, all those, the inner workings of it, and the inspiration behind it. That's what's going to really add to that connection to the audience, where they can say, hey, that really resonates with me, and I feel like I want to be a part of helping, you know, make this grow and continue this work, and to continue to help so-and-so who I saw in that video and their story and people like them. And that's where we see a lot of effective campaigns where fundraising and donations can be really positively affected. Do we have any, I know we have some viewers, but
no questions.
No questions. Well,
you should say we're changing the time.
Oh, that's right. I mentioned that normally you'd say like, hey, don't you guys start at 1:30 Hawaii Standard Time? And yes, we normally do, but we decided to change it. So I know we started late at about 12:50 today, but originally we wanted to start at 12:30. So we're going to try something new. We're going to start our streams every Tuesday at 12:30 Hawaii Standard Time. The reason behind that is we think that that's more in line with lunch breaks, and hopefully that'll be easier on people's schedules to join us live.
But also, if our kid goes back to in-person blended, we might have to pick him up.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was what started the thought.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any kids out there that are going to school, you know, we wish you the best of luck and hope everyone stays safe. But yeah, so anticipate, and we're going to do a better job too of giving you a heads up. I've been doing such a bad job of like throwing out the announcement like, hey, in about 10 hours we're going to be going live. I'm going to start putting it out earlier so that you can, one, set your schedules to join us live, but two, knowing what the topic is, you can throw in questions and comments in advance so that we can discuss it here live. So want to do whatever we can to get this to be easier and more convenient for you guys, and also more interactive for you. So hopefully you enjoy kind of this new format where it's earlier in the day and we'll give you the topics earlier in the week, and it's less robotic and clunky with my aversion to reading notes and preparation. I don't know, I thought it went pretty smoothly today. What do you think? It felt better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is kind of what we had envisioned in the first place.
You're very You're very depressing when you're reading notes.
Wow.
But that's good, because that's less preparation for you.
I wasn't expecting it to be that dark and dreary. I thought you'd just be like, you seemed like a little lower in energy.
That's what I said during, but now that it's done, I can tell you.
All right, well, hopefully I didn't depress you all in the previous weeks enough where you're still here and watching. And I hope that you enjoyed the content, and I hope that what we shared with you is helpful. If you have any questions, I know a lot of you will watch this on the replay and didn't get a chance to watch us live, but just know that we still, look through the comments afterwards. And so if you have any questions, throw it in the comment section, or if you want to reach us directly through email, you can reach us at info@popcm.me. And again, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, pull that up right there. There you go.
It worked.
And so this is the website where you can sign up for our bi-monthly newsletter. And we talk about all kinds of topics that could, one, give you helpful tips like the ones we're sharing in the Pop Live, but we can kind of go into details about other things. And then we also, we get a lot of comments that people really like our newsletter because it's not just about business, and it's very personal for us. Like, we like to share a lot of what we're going through, and that's the best way we can think of to stay connected with everyone. So we try to really put in a lot of our own heart.
I have to cough.
Into it.
I'm coughing on my coffee. I'm choking on my coffee.
The sad part is that we got this cool audio thing so that she could mute herself.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
And she just said, "No, I'm just going to cough straight into the mic." So what are you going to do?
Sorry.
She even has a mute button on the mic pad too.
I know.
There's multiple opportunities to mute herself.
Sorry.
All right, so let's bring Jamie on one more time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jamie, look at the camera and wave to all of our friends. That's so sad. Speaking about depressing.
I'm hiding.
That's depressing. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll be back again next week on Tuesday at 12:30 Hawaii Standard Time. This Friday, I will announce what the topic will be. If you have a specific topic that you want us to cover, please let us know. If you have questions about something that you really like, our thoughts on, we'd love that. I mean, we have a long list of topics, but we prefer to talk about things that you want to hear about. So please send it our way, and we'll catch you next week. Have a great rest of your week, and I gotta think of a cool way to say goodbye.
I don't know if this button's gonna work, so hopefully it works.
I'm just gonna wave and smile and see what happens.